wanted to show everyone really quickly what I'm going to be running this patch as a Stamina Nightblade in the Wrathstone update. Gear, running 2 Veladreth still, 5 Reliquins, and 5 Advancing Yokata front bar. Nothing has changed here from last patch in terms of the sets, and this is for single target boss DPS. The traits on the jewelry, I have elected to stick with Bloodthirsty. You can swap out Infused and the weapon damage enchant on those jewels. Bloodthirsty is going to outperform Infused if your group is consistently getting to execute and able to maintain buffs and everything in execute, and you're able to get your dots down right before you reach 25%, and you can Killer's Blade the rest of the way there. So if that's the case, Bloodthirsty would be really good if you can achieve that. If not, if your group's progressing through certain content and isn't able to get to execute as frequently or having trouble getting there, Infused is going to perform better. On the daggers, I've seen a couple different combinations going around. This was the first one that I had tried and the one I had the best results with, which is double sharpened. So we're trying to achieve our penetration here by different means than running the Lover Mundus Stone. So we're running double sharpened here. We're using poison damage enchant and the absorb stam enchant, so a little bit more sustained. They nerfed the enchants and the way they proc. They're cut in half basically on one-handed weapons. So we elected to move from Infused to something else. Nerdhome Precise, you could do that and then still run Lover, but double sharpened and ditching the Lover Mundus Stone and putting more points into piercing for that penetration will achieve better results. Infused Maelstrom Bow on the back bar, weapon damage enchant, you'll have 100% uptime on Berserker here. Real quick, 64 points into Stam, and the food that we'll use is Artaeum Takeaway Broth, Artaeum Broth Takeaway, or Dubious Corn Throne if you don't have as much money. No worries there. And the nice thing is, we don't have to sacrifice any attribute points or enchants to achieve that 16k health while using that food, because racial passives, Orc gets 1,000 extra health. So that allows us to still stack our max stats, max stam, while also using regen food. And that's the biggest change this patch, is the race. Orc is performing the best due to these stats alone, getting the 1,000 health, the 2,000 stamina, and then the 258 weapon damage. And something that might be overlooked right now, or maybe people are starting to catch on, is this reduced cost of sprint by 12% and increased movement speed of sprint by 10% is going to be really good for score pushing in trials. So this is definitely the best race to go with. Other skill points you're going to need, just the 3 in the medicinal use to get your alchemy, to get your potions proccing on cooldown. Obviously everything in medium armor. I'm going to go over the skills real quick for single target: surprise attack, rending, rearming, relentless, killer's blade, flawless dawnbreaker, endless hail, rearming trap, razor caltrops, poison injection, leeching strikes, and incap. Nothing has changed here. I am a vampire stage 2 for extra regen. I do recommend it, because the orc does need as much regen as he or she can get. Champion points this patch. Red tree does not matter as much because this is going to be dependent on the trial you're doing, so just check with your group lead, or if you are the group lead, just make sure that you guys are adjusting your points based off of what trial you're in. Looking into the green tree, 14 into Sprinter, 44 Warlord. You can move these around a little bit as well, depending on what you're doing. You just need to, I think the best thing to do is to not just follow blindly the CP points that you see, but rather test things out and put points into places that you see fit that you really need. So if you're running around a lot and you're doing, I don't know, dungeons, and you're sprinting through real quickly, or you're trying to do speed runs and you're running out of stam before you get to the next trash pull, then put some more points into Sprinter. And I would still recommend beefing up Warlord, but take some out of tumbling. Depending on the trial, I'll probably take more out of tumbling. Shadow Ward maybe even that as well. A few points out of each of these, and buff up Sprinter, especially with the way that our passive works with being an orc and the sprint reduction. You can put some more points into this to scale off of that. But that's my point, is this green tree should also be, you know, something based off your own experience and what you need. If your group is getting CC'd a lot because of missed blocks or stuns from the tank, then buff up Warlord a little bit. That way you're not running out of your stam. The other important piece, though, is I would definitely recommend 76, no more than this. If you put 100 in here, you're missing out on 14 points that you could put in other nodes to save you stamina resource. And then tenacity 56, just to get that 12.08%. Whenever you need to do a heavy attack, it's good that you'll get full resources, not full resources, but a good amount of resources back if you need to heavy attack. Blue tree, 66 mastered arms. This is going to buff attacks like the first tick of rending slashes, surprise attack, bow proc, killer's blade, poison injection, all of our light attacks. So this is definitely one of the trees you want to try and buff up quite a bit. And then you have Thaumaturge, precise strikes. This is good because we're really trying to achieve that high critical chance, strike chance with advancing Okada, while also stacking how much damage that those critical strikes do, which we are using the Shadow for because the Shadow got a recent buff. And then also 34 into piercing to achieve that pen cap. Adjust this based off your group and how well you're achieving certain penetration with your group. And then mighty. And so yes, again, we are using the Shadow just because this did get a buff. And so it went from, I believe, 9% up to 13%, which is a 4% increase. And that kind of raised the question, like, is Shadow going to be good this patch? And sure enough, it is, as long as we can reach penetration by different means. And then so our Divines buffs this all the way up from 13% up to 19%. And again, just to reiterate, we are running all Divines, all medium. And then our attributes, all 64 into Stam. And I'll show you, I don't have an AR TAM food on me, but with Dubious, we're at 16.568 health, max health, which is really good, and still above that 30k on Stam. And that's really good this patch for using a regen food. So some different trash setups that I'd like to show. This first one, the gear we're using, Stormfist, gives you stam recovery on a high when we're using a skill that has a lot of drain, so that one piece helps a lot. Then when you deal damage, you have a 10% chance to create a Thunder Fist to crush the enemy, dealing shock damage and also physical damage. That shock damage has a chance to apply minor vulnerability, so if healers aren't able to proc that minor vulnerability with their blockade or their lightning staves, this will help a lot with getting that 8% extra damage against those targets. You can swap that out for sets like Krogs. You could even use defensive sets, and you could even use Velodreth for more weapon damage, but you might have a hard time sustaining the Steel Tornado spam. Two Fang Snake, if you're reaching pen or you're over penning on trash, then I highly recommend getting rid of this and putting on VO on the body and then advancing Okada on the front bar. Getting that extra crit chance, the crit rating will help a lot. You'll do more damage. But if you're not reaching that penetration, which most of the time you aren't, then Two Fang Snake is going to be the way to go. Enchants for the weapons, I would say either Nirnhone. If you're running this setup where we're using double sharpened on advancing Okada and we're adjusting our penetration and our CP for that, I would probably say your best bet is running double sharpened here. That way, you're keeping at that pen cap. But if not, then you could also run Nirnhone and then one in sharpened or even one precise for more crit rating. And you could also do double swords if you have swords. Worth trying out in trash to get more of that stack damage, but your crit rating is going to go a lot lower. So typically daggers is going to be the option, but daggers or swords work. Axe will be very bad because that's only a single target, so it's not going to be proccing a lot on multiple targets, and that target that it does proc on will probably die pretty quickly. And then the same Maelstrom bow as a single target. You get the infused. The reason we're doing this is because you want that Berserker enchant uptime to be 100%, and Infused is going to help us with that. Skills, surprise attack. If there's a high priority single target that we need to take down quickly, we use that along with Killer's Blade. If not, you can put Vigor on here. You're playing a little risky if you're not using Vigor, especially depending on your group. And then you can stack more Fighter's Guild abilities if you just want to stack that damage for Steel Tornado. Relentless Focus, when you proc it, you get that Minor Berserk, as well as the Minor Endurance. Thrive in Chaos. This is the ultimate that we're replacing the Fighter's Guild Flawless Dawnbreaker with, and you can get up to a maximum of 30% more damage depending on how many enemies you hit with this. So very good at nuking down large groups of trash. You can also run Deadly Cloak here as well, just to get that major evasion, which reduces damage from area attacks by 25%. You also get a little bit of AoE damage from it as well. Not a lot, but a little bit. Channel Acceleration on the back bar to get Minor Force uptime a little higher. You get it for 36 seconds rather than having to use Rearming Trap a bunch and trying to get it to proc on somebody, especially if the trash is dying very quickly. Endless Hail, Caltrops, Poison Ejection again for that high priority target, then Leeching Strikes for more sustain, and Incap again for any high priority target. You could also run Mirage on any of these, which gives you major evasion, minor resolve, and minor ward, so you get a little more resistances, which helps with survival.
Ease yourself back into consciousness.
Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you found some bits of this video informative, and you can take that back to your groups and achieve better scores with any information I gave you here, or progress more content with this. If you did find it helpful, please let me know. If there are any recommendations that you have, I'm always willing to receive and be open to constructive criticism, so just let me know in the comments, and I'd be happy to make edits and adjustments to future videos. And I haven't been putting out a lot of build videos just because being very busy, so I haven't been able to be consistent with it. But if this is something that you find helpful and I'm reaching a certain part of the community that likes the style of these videos, then just let me know and I'll keep doing them. And if not, again, I'll either make adjustments or I can just stop doing them altogether, because there certainly are other players that are putting out very, very, very informative content in regards to what to use and where for the Elder Scrolls Online and different classes and what the best in slot is for them. But thanks again for watching, and hope to see you guys next time.